Hey, hello, hello. No, no, no. You're live. Alright, there we go. Hey, Jez. How's it going? You getting started here? We're going to be studying upper body anatomy today. And I have this book that I have not studied from before, but it simplifies anatomy, so I'm excited to check it out. I have pages from it, and it just seemed really good. I need to actually find it in the wild. Because the title, I'm assuming, is Japanese. Let me see. It might be Korean, actually. And I do not know Korean, so I need to find a way to get this book. Hi, Zane. You're actually, I'm sorry to disappoint you, you're not first. Chaz made it here before you. Maybe next time. But we're gonna be, yeah, see, this is really cool. Super in love with all the drawings here, but some of them are really nice, especially the anatomy breakdown. Simplified, very good. But yeah, I need the actual book because if you see it, like, cuts off this here. Just frustrating to say the least. Here's the neck. We're not going to study that again today. We're gonna go straight to upper body anatomy. We want to study it as a whole first, then break down its individual parts. Comical comment achieved. That I will agree with you on. Just gonna turn that head a little bit. aspect of the body are you thinking of studying? Oh, hey Nova, how's it going? So I'm focusing on the upper torso today. I'm kind of gonna follow this book, so I imagine that they'll start with the deltoids, the shoulders. You can see here that he kind of outlines, I think it's the muscle groups. So I need to understand more about anatomy, basically. And here, we can take a little preview. So he's doing the front, the back. We'll skip the back view. That's the female front and back. What is the first muscle? What focuses on? Looks like, is it shoulders? Shoulders and the pectoralis. Looks like. Ooh, back up. Hard to control this. Okay, there we go. When I go to draw anatomy from memory, my brain is like the best I can do are noodles attached to a bean. Yeah, when you draw from anatomy, it is definitely a lot harder at first. But don't let that discourage you, because it doesn't take long to start understanding more of it, to the point where God, arm doesn't want to move in that way. It doesn't take long for you to start understanding more and doing more. A lot of that too has to do with poses. You start doing poses that you don't know, and so you don't know what the anatomy looks like from that angle, so you revert to, you know, your noodle shape and then try to tack on your anatomy, right? But that doesn't work for every pose, especially if you start to have like a foreshortened hand, right? Doing a noodle like that is not as great. Looks like TB Choi's. Yeah, it does look very familiar. It's the only thing about TB Choi's book, which is a little frustrating, is that she doesn't really go over anatomy or anything. She just, and not, her book technically isn't an anatomy book, so I'm not gonna fault her for that by any means. It's a how to draw like characters book, I think it's called officially. But she goes over like arms and feet, and that's maybe like a couple extra things, and that's about it. Can't really use her to study anatomy. Like, I can use her kind of as a how anatomy relates back to everything as a whole. To study anatomy, it's a little bit harder. I can use her for kind of like bits and pieces here and there. Unless Adventure Time is my only goal. She's a better artist than teacher from what I've seen. Uh, yeah, actually, I've never taken her classes or anything, so I can't speak to her teaching. Um, but her drawings are very good teaching drawings, so I wish she would do more teaching. It's incorrectly. No. Alright, hang on. She doesn't explain much. She's keeping her art secrets to herself. That's sad. We don't want to be gatekeeping information. Being shaped. Pectoralis. Is this a Pinterest board, or do you have a Pinterest board? I do, but I don't really maintain it. I felt like it was too hard to maintain a Pinterest board. I don't know. Gotta go. Dinner time. Have a good stream. Thank you. Sure was a good free anatomy reference app with like 3D models. I think there is, honestly. I don't prefer to use stuff like that, but I think that there is something like that out there. Okay, I know that the cannot be bigger, right? It's okay. I figure it out. I'm not to stay the stream for a long time. I have exams. Yeah, it's okay, Akil. I feel like you always have exams. I'm so sorry. I hope your testing ends sooner or later. But don't worry, man. You're good. I appreciate you even stopping by. You don't need to do that. Make our tube great again? Oh god, don't say that. Jack that slogan now? No, I think it's forever tainted. Sorry. It's been hard, man. Having exams and all, but I'm free after tomorrow. No more exams. Haven't been able to keep with improving art, so it's also a bit frustrating. Hey, it's alright. You gotta forgive yourself for that kind of stuff. There's just stuff that you can't avoid. And it's only gonna hurt you. Like you're only hurting yourself because you're the only one who can stop doing that. You know? It's frustrating, but it's reality. So don't worry your pretty head about it. Just forgive yourself so you can do the work that you need to do and get to the drawing as soon as you can. Get back to the art that you really want to do. Okay. The question is this correct? So I always want to have multiple resources open, I think. Yeah, I'll look at this. Multiple resources open because everybody kind of places their anatomy a little different. It's important to have a second resource so you know you're not, like, I'm looking at the belly button, I feel like it's lower than usual. Same with the rib cage, feels like it's lower. And this area before the pelvis feels a little long, so I might adjust it a little bit. Thanks for the kind words. Bye for now. See you later, Akil. Good luck with your exams. Although, you know, when you start doing character design, you can alter these things. So I guess there are things that I'm going to change and things that I won't change. Established artists who try to relate to beginners more. Most channels just feel like a giant ad for their art. or good educational ones, but I guess free quality beginner art is difficult to make. Well, there's two problems with that. One is maybe it's their fault that they're just advertising their own art, but the other is what's called the curse of knowledge. As you get better at things, like especially if there was no intent for you to become a teacher of this kind of stuff or anything, and then you decide later, or even if you decide from the beginning, you gotta be careful of this. But the curse of knowledge is basically the idea that as you get better, your knowledge becomes so far beyond the beginner that you can't relate to what a beginner does anymore. It's kind of like when you get super rich and then you can't relate to people who are broke, and you say dumb shit because you don't understand what it was like to have no money, right? So the same is true for learning anything. So when these artists get really big, when these artists get really big, they forget what it's like as a beginner, so they start taking shortcuts with like anatomy, that's totally okay for them to do, but it makes it hard. They're teaching, for instance, for a beginner to follow along. Huh, that is interesting. So that is literally the serratus. Or is that? See, I wish I could translate this stuff. There's something here. Maybe this is both the serratus. I feel like that purple shit is the serratus, actually. What is this? So yeah, sometimes it's not their fault. They just don't know that they're not relating to the student mind anymore because they've been out of it for too long. So this happens a lot with like people who do, get asked to do panels or something, and they're not really teachers. Like they think they're helping, but they don't remember what it's like anymore to be in that beginner artist journey. I'm trying to keep that in mind as I go so that I don't do that, but anybody who gets good is going to be guilty of that, or will become guilty of it. Hi, Juno. How's it going? And then you've got art YouTubers who are just making entertainment, so it's not they're not really designed for education, and that's okay too. Again, it's their prerogative what kind of content they want to make. I'm guessing this guy expanded the rib cage a bit so he could draw in maybe subconsciously draw in all these. Shit, how do you fit all this? Okay, hang on, redrawing. Deer, why is there a line on his left pictorial only? I don't know what you mean. What's the PDF you got? I kind of ripped it off of a website. Oh, do you mean this tiny little line right here? In the green area? You mean on the PDF, not on my thing, Dirash. Thank you, Zane. The PDF I got, so I don't actually know what this book is called. It's in Korean. Oh, okay, Dirash. Okay, I'll tell you in just a sec. Yeah, I'm sorry, Jenna, I don't know what this book is called. I've been trying to get my hands on a copy. I have like a couple images, and I know that if I Google search said images, I will find the book, but it translates to like something about the basics of anatomy or something, but when you actually search that, it doesn't come up. You have to search the Korean name or the ISBN number. When I actually get my hands on this book, finally, I will share it with everybody. Just don't know how to order it because there's no like English version to order. Like even sometimes you can go to Amazon and find stuff like that, but I can't. So I'm hoping I find something in the wild. Maybe I'll see if the Kinokuniya bookstore will get it. I always ask them. So, Dheeraj, this line, there's, we have these muscles, like if you were to really tense your chest and everything, you would get these little, like, lines that cut across kind of thing, because there are these muscles and tendons that are pulling across the chest. You probably see it if you look at somebody who's, like, working out, bodybuilding or something. It's just like tendons pulling at this this sternum, the bone here that comes down, and so it's kind of like they're just making skin folds, because all these, when you break down the muscle of this, it's like I have the Loomis figure drawing one right here. So come on down. All of these are like lines that are going, they're folding into this armpit, right? So there's like this twist and fold happening here. So when you see that line on the chest, it's just a line that's being pulled either on this side or through the center, right? Oops. Because you have this is what's actually happening. Oh god, fold. Boop, 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 boop. And it's folding up into here. Yeah. So that's why you see that. Typically you're not going to see that unless somebody's, you know, lifting something or super strong, when those muscles are activated. Zane, we need more content like pursuing art at 35, passion, inspiration, and limited resources. See, that is correct. I believe that too. The next video I make is sort of, I'm putting it together now, but it's, I think I can bring this line a little bit. The next one that I'm making is is kind of like a what I draw in a week to show people what I get done with the habits that I have. Because that's what I mentioned in the video itself, that I created a drawing habit, and that's how I'm pursuing this stuff. So yeah, that is the video I'm making right now. And the idea is to just give you a real snapshot of what with my drawing habit, what I can actually accomplish in a week, or what you could accomplish if you had a drawing habit. Which is what, trying to help everybody make. Dark. Let's see. Way more time than I thought. But when you study this stuff, there is, at first it's going to take you longer. Like I'm generally pretty fast at creating the figure. I can make, I don't know, like a figure in like 20 minutes or something that's has anatomy and everything. But now when you start studying this stuff, you need to take the time to slow down, and really understand everything that's happening, and that's what I'm trying to do right now. So it's not gonna be as fast. Good. Okay. Isolate these muscle groups. It's got here in the picture. Oh, you know what? Before I do that. Okay. Yeah, do that. We'll use the same colors because it just makes sense. Hello, fellow drawers. High 4. How's it going? Doing good. That's good. Good to hear. We're studying anatomy today. Use a cyan just to punch out the sternocleidomastoid, which he did not do. And the reference sure has I'm fine, I'm calm energy. Yeah, he sure does. Right. Was the pink part just the ribs? I was trying to figure out what the pink part was. And I know the serratus tucks into the ribs. But these just the muscles on the ribs is that plus. And then it looks like it combines it with the obliques. I think it's the serratus. No, I think the purple is the serratus. Because serratus plugs in to the ribs from the back. So I think, and I mean, I'm pretty sure. I don't know for sure. Serratus is one of the coolest muscles because of the way it plugs in. You thought you were drawing the ribs, but it was me, Dio. I gotta figure it out. Yeah, because what you usually see, because you usually don't see that, you would see the serratus come in like this, and then usually you see like a bit of the ribs like that. Wait, no, it's connected, so hang on. So you see that, that, kind of like that. You see that a couple times, and that's how you know that the serratus is there. You usually see this little section right there. I think he just defined the ribs super strongly so you could get an idea of what was going on, and then he sort of combined it with the obliques down here. I don't know why he didn't separate out the obliques, which, you know, this is why we use multiple art books for anatomy. You inspire me, man. Thank you, Zane. I appreciate it. I don't know what I'm doing that's inspiring, but I appreciate it. And now I'm starting to doubt this piece of muscle right here. Oh god, you can't see anything. Okay, right here. I'm wondering if that's really how it. Sternal abdominal oblique muscles, so they're part of the oblique. Yeah, no, it definitely doesn't. So he is over exaggerating the rib cage. Let's see. I think he has another. Yeah, so it's just the rib cage. Oh, and that's why that's opening up. Interesting. Everybody simplifies anatomy in their own way, so, you know, take what you can get from everybody and then decide what you want to do. Because normally I would do that, but, you know. Alright. Oops. 2%. This is where you use more than one reference source, especially if the artist highlights things. Yes, I always say that. Usually I have, what is it called? Anatomy for Sculptors open. It's a really good resource. But there's like straight up pictures of naked people in that book. I can't be sharing that on stream. Art, naked people, cool. Pictures of naked people, not so much. Alright, we need to make an attempt on the hands just because I swore to myself from now on that I would not let the hands go undone. Oh shit. This is the wrong layer. Okay. YouTube forbid the cheek of a buttock. Yeah. Honestly, I'm nervous even putting, you know, naked people in art on here. So if I get flagged for it at all, I'll probably will not do it again. Or at least try to figure out, like, I don't have like a, I think when you get to a certain point on YouTube, like you'll get a YouTube contact kind of thing, like they check in on you. And I obviously don't have that yet, but if I do, I might wait till then to understand if I can actually post drawings like that. It says that you can. Art is allowed. You just never know. Gonna piss someone off with your naked drawings or something, even though you're just trying to study anatomy. What kind of drawer are you? Metal, wooden? I'm not sure what that means, Zane. Nudity became a sin, darn you, Adam and Eve. You had some funny comments, Zane. Yeah, it is a shame. It's... An IKEA Alex drawer. Someone created a GIF of them turning into a wooden drawer after receiving a compliment. You're a good drawer? Why? So funny. It's not the best face, but I need to move on. Nope, that's gonna piss me off. Okay. Sorry, bear with me for 1 minute. is this being so incredibly difficult? I could just go like this. Oh my god. Okay, done with that. And we're gonna skip the back for now. Just dealing with our torso. Well, I mean, they have drawings like this on YouTube, so should be fine. We'll see. Might have to delete this video, we'll find out. Yeah, I think it matters if somebody like reports it more than anything. Because I've done on other socials like nude figure drawings, and some of them, some accounts like can draw them all the time, and I draw one, it's flagged immediately. Like, I don't understand. I think it just depends on the people that show up at your channel. Which is sad. Demonetizing videos for mentioning. I mean, yeah, they're demonetizing for like people who are just lightly swearing a little while back. Then they had to change that because everybody got pissed. I swear. When they try to figure out ways to not be liable, they just screw over their entire audience. Twitch does that, I feel like, a lot more, which is a big reason why we're here and not there. Can't keep good Zephyrus up. I think I'm fine. Yeah, I mean, like I said, if it gets flagged, there's options like when I select the monetization, when I first turned it on, it just did it to everything. And now when I select it, it asks you to do it yourself. So you can select, like, there's a selection that I've been doing it for any figure drawings that I do that says something about like mild nudity or like drawings with nudity or something like that. So I just select that, and it means it puts limited ads on there. And for the live streams, I'm not really worried about ad revenue, you know, so that doesn't really bother me. I suppose it'd be a little frustrating if I did like a long YouTube video and it like one that I've actually produced and not a live stream, and I couldn't get that monetized. That'd be a little frustrating. But yeah, I do have to be careful because I do want this to be a job for myself in the future. Right now it's because of that last video I was able to turn monetization on, so I made a teensy bit of money, but I need it. Follow one YouTuber is very successful. She still works her day job. She knows a platform like YouTube just aren't reliable. Yeah, super true. You know, once you become a professional artist, you have more revenue streams open to you. So like you can sell your art, for instance, which is something that I'm not gonna do yet because I don't have art worth selling. But when I get there, I'll definitely be able to do that, and you know, you can rely on YouTube ad revenue or something less, or sponsors less, because you have products of your own. Right now I'm writing a book kind of along the same lines of like the video that I made about pursuing art at 35 and the advice that I gave in there, but it's like mental health focused on artists and how to overcome that mental side of getting yourself to draw. I'd like to do 2 books, or one is like getting over that mental part and the other is how to actually improve physically. So like there's the mental side, there's a book, physical side, there's another book. I've done, you know, extensive research and everything on the topic, and just through my own experiences and listening to other people, I feel like it's gonna be very good. Just, you know, a lot of it relies on me to market it well and make sure I'm getting people interested in it, because I think it'd be really helpful for people. Letting people be responsible themselves is what we need. New Master Academy has nude timed figure drawing references. Yeah, that's good. Sod, hello. How's it going? Jaden, I just practiced anatomy 3 hours ago. Yeah, it's time for me to do it too. I've been putting it off for too long. That might have been too much. There we go. Okay. There we go. Anatomy, I feel like it's so much harder because everything is just so subtle. Just very, it's the nuances, everything, little subtle angle changes. Unless, you got a bodybuilder woman or something, then you can go ham on the muscles and anatomy. And that's fun too. Trying like Amazonian women or something. Let's start music. Hang on one sec. There we go. I always think. Oh wait, like you should not have to worry about your income every time a website updates their TOS. Yeah, a little concerning. I always think that people upload 10 hours, rain, relaxing, sleep instantly, have it figured out. Yeah. I actually did try that once, although it was 1 hour. And I curated the music and everything. It didn't really do anything. The thumbnail probably matters more than I gave it credit for, and yeah, I mean, those videos are pretty nice, I guess. Most of the time, the issue really is the mental part. Hi, Magic Art. Thank you for the love. Most of the time, the issue really is the mental part. Like, I've been dealing with stress and depression lately. It really just killed my creativity for work. But I got good news today, thankfully. Oh, it's good for. I'm glad you got good news today. Yeah, no. The mental part, for most artists, like, if you look at artists as a whole, not professional artists. And the reason why they're not is because they don't make it there. Because they have some sort of mental block. Whether it be depression or they don't have any tools to make habits or something. It's most artists are dealing with that mental load, and I just want to give people the tools to get past that, which is what I'm trying to do. I feel like I've mostly done it myself. I mean, everybody gets depressed. Depression is, a different thing, and I have that too. but you know, sometimes you actually need to seek professional help for whatever is going on in your life. But a lot of the times it is just you being a pain in the ass to yourself, or being your own worst enemy kind of thing. And there are ways past it. Okay, what's happening? There's a saying that creative people tend to suffer more. That saying does a lot of damage. I don't think he's saying that suffering does anything good for art. It's that creative people tend to suffer more. I don't know if that's necessarily true. That creative people tend to suffer more. But yeah, you definitely don't need to harness suffering into inspiration. I think there is this idea that when you're comfortable, that you're less productive in comfort because you don't need to do anything. Again, you don't have to be suffering in order to make yourself productive. You just need to step out of your comfort zone. Just a seed germinating. I mean, some people do use their emotional pain to create work and connect with people, and that's not a bad thing either, to an extent. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it suffering, but I use my emotional journey in studying art to make that new video that I made. And but I didn't suffer. In the sense that it was like true suffering. It was just it was a mental frustration, which I suppose can be its own form of suffering. JQ, yes, what are we learning today? Also, hello, hi. We're learning front torso anatomy. And it feels like we're not going to get very far, and I may have needed to push the breast down further. That seems odd, though. I'll go with this for now. I'll have to look at another piece of reference to see if I got that wrong. There's more sources of inspiration than suffering. Emotions in general are common. Yeah. When we're trying to come up with a piece, like a full illustration or something, you're trying to tell a story. Sometimes it has to do with sad, connecting with sad emotions, but definitely not always. There are many more ways to express ourselves than just through suffering. I think if all we did was express ourselves through suffering, it'd be a pretty bleak art community. You know? Oh, well, that's interesting. I either made her too wide or didn't connect this far enough over. Use a lemon, I think there's some merit. What did I do wrong here? Oh. TB Choi. I can actually look at her book and look at the anatomy. Of course, she doesn't have a female figure nude. It's just the male figure. Why? Oh, what does now mean? Oops. There's some merit to that notion. People are going to experience ups and downs in life. Negative experiences and emotions are inevitable. Expressing them through art is a way of processing them, and naturally interesting works can be informed by the artist's experience. Yeah, I just don't think that's a very typically for us, we're not like for I shouldn't say for us without explaining that. In our art world, like entertainment art, concept art, character design, all that stuff, we're trying to tell a story. Our goal is not to like share our suffering with the world. That's a very binary approach. Not that that's a bad thing, and in storytelling stories, we do talk and share things about suffering. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. I just don't think most of the time it's the focus. Come on, there we go. Yeah, the Anatomy for Sculptors is a great book. I want a detailed anatomy book with illustrations like the reference you have, like anime anatomy. Yeah, I've always wanted that. I've kind of kind of been just gathering reference for years. Um, and I have a bunch of like anime reference. This was kind of one of the first books that I saw that was good, because a lot of anime art books are horrible, garbage, because they're never written by like artists that are actually doing the thing, like manga artists or something. They're always drawn by people who never made it. They're still not beginners, but they're not experts really in anything either. This is one of the first ones I found. There's another one that's Stonehouse Anatomy, but that book has a lot of problems in terms of like sexism and racism, so it's not really a great resource. Could have been. Yeah, and just actually bad information. I remember reading about that book as something like trying to come up with weird ways about why the female anatomy, the pelvis was a certain way. I was just like, it's not even true scientifically. It's a weird book. Sculptor book is called Anatomy for Sculptors. Yeah, I have that book as well. I just can't show it because it has pictures of actual naked people. But it's a great book, great resource for sure. Okay. Okay. Can't believe they didn't name the book Anime Tony. That's a good one. Or not really about sharing suffering. It's often those experiences that give you something to say in the first place, and what you'll have to say because of it can be positive too, of course. True. I wish non-artists didn't misinterpret that as an artist has to suffer to be good. Yeah, I think it's just like an old thing too that's just been ingrained in our culture, our artistic culture. Is like, what is the term that they use? Struggling artist, I think is the term, right? Starving artist, excuse me. Starving artist is the term. And it's just been thrown around forever. So it's just like this weird expected thing, part of our culture. Same as with like, you know, feeling like you have to draw every day. And that's why people just say draw every day as advice. We have a lot of kind of toxic things in our art culture that I don't even know where they freaking came from. You know, maybe there were more starving artists back in the day or something, and it just became a saying. But Draw this actually. Thank you, JQ. Starving artist. Yeah, I got there eventually. I wouldn't want an automobile engineer writing a book about car repair. You'd want a car mechanic to make a repair book. People who actually do the work, like you said. Yeah, no, exactly. They may dabble in it, but they don't know it in and out. And you want someone who does. And can also, I think it was you who brought this up, can also relate to the beginner artist journey so that they don't tell you everything in a way that's confusing and only useful for experienced artists. They need to be able to, you know, simplify and dilute that information down. That's why TB Choi's drawings are so good, because they're broken down. Like even this book is really good. The drawings are broken down very simple. If you could actually read the words and you spoke Korean, it would probably be a great book. It's the whole "would Van Gogh still be an artist if he wasn't depressed" thing. It's just saying someone's paintings matter more than their well-being. Definitely can't draw on an empty stomach. Yeah, I am the same way. Yeah, again, I think it came from the fine art world and it just got shoved over into ours. It's just absolute nonsense to think that you have to suffer to create good art. Again, it also gets coupled with that thing I talked about too with how you can't really be, or you're not as productive like when you're comfortable, right? So there's that idea as well that probably mixes up in there. All of it's just not good. You know? But that's the kind of stuff that I would. That's a good point. I should probably put that in the mental health book about the starving artist thing, that art doesn't need to come from suffering. I actually didn't think about that angle, so I'll leave that as a note. And I can put that in there, because that's important too. People don't need to suffer to create art. And I can do some research on the actual, like, being comfortable thing, because there's going to be a handful of, well, there already is, but there's going to be a handful of actual studies and things in there, so. It's just strange why I don't usually build the figure this way. Oops. Hi, Maxi. Maxi Calypse. Or a good channel, by the way. You mean my channel? This playlist, very epic and soothing. Thank you. JK, I've always said mindfully draw with intention and analyze your set studies nearly every day, even if it's 5 minutes to draw. Yeah, I would agree. Being mindful when you draw is important. Such a weird way that this figure was built. Okay, there we go. Maybe I shouldn't have drawn this. Oh. It's all good. Look like. Guess it's trying to say that that would plug in that way. That's not what it would look like though. Who's the artist behind the references? I do not know. It's Korean. When I figure out who the heck it is, I will let you know. Promise. Alright, we learned our mistake from the last one, so we're gonna actually, you know what? We're running out of time here, so I am gonna draw it. I'm just gonna fix it on the fly. I'll start with the rib cage again, that's okay. Weird. This is how I make my figures also. I suppose it's okay. You guys are talking a lot. Let me know if anybody has a question. Or I missed something. Okay, see what he did. He outlined where the pectoralis muscle was. Alright, that seems wrong. Did I just make that too high? Okay. Do I work another job, Zane? Yeah, I do graphic design in my full time. It's just freelance contract, so I don't have like full-time hours. So I do them mostly in the afternoon and evening. So that I can do this during the day. Or during the morning. I wish I did this full-time. I'd have a lot more... Trying to get a lot more done if I could devote my time to this full-time. Eventually. That is the goal. get there. Yeah, you got a good mind for YouTube. Thank you. Oh, good. Thank you. You've done. What's next on the agenda after drawing anatomy? Oh, so yeah, the whole bleach project that I'm doing is to help me study anatomy, but also, you know, introduce other things like composition and painting illustrations and stuff. But yeah, it was mostly to keep my Claire characters like less clothed. Um, uh, so yeah, the next step is definitely going to be clothes. I've really not studied clothes at all. Like very few drawings and stuff, and sort of incorporating design into that as well. But really, just starting with learning. There's like 8 types of folds or something like that. So learning those and drawing those, that will be the next step. I'm just gonna see if I can draw out the head here without screwing it up. Um, yeah, so I'm excited to get into clothes and everything. It's still gonna be a little while. Um, you know, and I probably will do clothes in between and stuff. It's a matter of like where I'm focusing my effort. And I need to do a video on this, but I have a method that I went about with studying that's totally different from how I learned in school, and how I'm understanding how some of these amazing artists that I've studied have done it. Um, it's gonna take a little bit to explain, but I'm purposefully going through this route, because I think it will help me. The learning might be slightly slower than I'm used to, but I think the depth of knowledge is going to be much deeper, so that, you know, it'll be like one of those curves where if you were to have 2 people studying side by side and one person was studying like the school way and I was studying, you know, my way, at first they'd be increasing more, right? And I'd be coming at this different angle, but then all of a sudden I'd swoop up way past them because my knowledge is going to be deeper. And it's actually going to do a lot more for me. Can't see your comments anymore. Hang on. My iPad died. You could honestly study and practice art in endless different ways. Yeah, I think though that the problem is that people have trouble with that exact statement. Is like there's so many ways to do it that you end up sitting there. It's like one of the mental barriers we talked about, right? The mental problems is that itself is a barrier. How do I study? How do I do it? And you always get stuck at that. Like, how do I do it the right way? Am I doing it the right way? Pretending there were sheets of toilet paper glued on his scalp. Interesting. Hey, that's a good way. I mean, it's basically like folds of paper, honestly. I've seen it studied that way before. I mean more of in like a broad sense of how people study. So like, for instance, usually in school, they'll have you do, like if you're learning anatomy, they'll have you do drawings of, like a bunch of drawings of the shoulder, and then they'll just move you down the anatomy without ever really applying that knowledge to anything. And then maybe they'll ask you to do something like maybe design a character at the end of the class, right? But you never practiced how to apply that knowledge that you learned through anatomy, and you basically can't use it. Clara, sorry I missed your note. I was watching one of your videos. You mentioned how important it is to do studies for imagination. I was curious to know what you meant by that. Is that any different from just sketching around? The word study makes me think it's something a bit more focused. That is an interesting distinction. I didn't think of it that way. So it's a good question. There are times, I would say there is two different things. So there are times where I'm studying for imagination. So for instance, I will one day, like today, I'm studying that front anatomy, right? And that's studying from reference. Then tomorrow, given some time, because you need some time to forget so that you can reinforce. It's called recall. Look up recall learning, and you can learn a lot about that. But forgetting a little bit so that you can pull it from your memory makes it stronger and stay in your memory, so that you can actually use that information. So the next day, after studying from reference, I would study from imagination, which means I would try to draw figures in different poses with just that front anatomy, because I studied it the day before. And then there might also be a day where I'm doing stuff from imagination. I wouldn't really consider studies from imagination, but I'm using the knowledge I learned and applying it to some kind of personal work or project, which is what I'm doing with this bleach project I've been making. I'll study like a portrait of something, and then I'll make that, meaning I don't have any reference with me when I'm doing the portrait the day after. I'm just trying to come up with something on my own. And there's sort of a mixture in between there too, where you can do applied studies, which is if you're making your own portrait, but you want to use like these 3 different photos. You want the hair from this character, and the color from this illustration, the color and light, and the pose from this illustration. So you're combining these 3 things to make a new thing. That is what I would consider an applied study, and that is kind of from imagination. But in order to do that well, you need to do stuff without anything in front of you. So the more that you do things or draw things without reference, the better you're going to become at actual studies and applied studies, if that makes sense. There's a whole, I gotta make larger videos on this stuff. This is a whole like theory of how you learn, and what sort of the version of like training wheels is versus like maybe this mid training wheel thing, like big ass training wheels, smaller training wheels, and then totally free and on your own. And all of them have their purpose and use, and you need all of them in order, if you really want to be a flexible, really good artist. Mix and match, put it in your Blender brain. Yeah, I actually just I just learned some stuff about color that like clued me in and made a lot of sense. I still am struggling with it, but I definitely learned something new that was really important. I'll try to share that as well. Ever since the internet aphantasia, tried to use a phrase like "picture it in your head," because people can't do that. Yeah, that is tough. Definitely have to do more research on that, because I'd like to know how people with aphantasia um, learn things, because that must be tough. I can't imagine not imagining stuff in my head. I mean, it's not super clear when I do it too. Um, it's not like it's a detailed drawing, but there's something there, you know. So I can't imagine if you had nothing. A lot of animators have aphantasia. That's crazy. I mean, that makes sense, right? That they have so much, that they would film, like a lot of movies, you see that they filmed themselves doing the acting out the parts, and then they use that as reference. That makes sense because they can't do that in their own head. Like, think of how something would move. They need perfect reference. So I imagine people with aphantasia, like what I was telling Clara, like instead of trying for imagination, you are doing that, but you're exploring with your pencil, right? So you're making what you're seeing in your head, you're kind of putting on, or excuse me, because you have aphantasia, you're not seeing anything in your head. So your head is your paper, right? So you're exploring what it could be by drawing it kind of messy and sketchy. Glen Keane and Ross Stoner. Glen Keane has aphantasia? Seriously? Wow. Oh yeah, Jakio, aphantasia is when you can't imagine things in your head. Like it's just a complete blank. There's nothing. Scribble Mouse, I have several failed strategies. My new tactics: think as less as possible. Thinky brain fretting over way too much stuff. Some of the top animators at Pixar. I really do think, because that's what I do personally sometimes. I don't think about anything in my head, and I'm just exploring on the paper of what I want it to become. Again, I don't have aphantasia, so I may be subconsciously like imagining things in my head, and I don't know. I'd have to personally talk to people with aphantasia to see what it's like, and look at research and stuff to see how they learn. Hi, Nuzo. It's hard for me to create in my head. Sometimes the best creativity ideas for stuff from experience. Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us have the exact thing in our head. I knew so. I'm about to end here, guys, so I'm just letting you know. I'm just trying to finish up the questions. But thank you guys for showing up. Hi, Devin. What book is that, or the name of the book? It's Korean, so I don't actually know. If you can read Korean, I'll scroll up to the top. This is the book. When I get my hands on a copy finally, I will share it. But honestly, right now, I have no idea what that says, and when I try to translate it, it doesn't really do anything for me. I can't find the book itself. I need the ISBN number or something. Might make it easier. Okay. Yeah, no problem. I promise I'll share it once I figure it out, because it is really, it seems like a really great book for simplifying anatomy, and I really would like to know. This one has been a little bit challenging to find. I appreciate it, Jake. Yeah, I have found it. It's just a matter of buying it in the US. Because I have images from the book. So I'm able to like reverse image search. It's just buying it in the US has been complicated. I'm sure I could buy a copy off of eBay. But I'm always nervous with eBay about what kind of quality it's gonna, the quality of the book. I'm hoping, you know, if I ever visit Japan or Korea or something, I could just buy it there. Alright, guys. Thank you for showing up. I'll be back tomorrow, same time. And I'll have to do a poll or something soon to see what time people want this stream. I've been doing it at the same time every day, but we'll see if there's a better time for everybody. Thank you for Zane, Jakio, Devin. Thank you for stopping by. I know it was quick. Scribble Mouse, Nuzo. I know you just got here. I'm sorry. And Clara, thank you. Yeah, I know. I'll always do. There's enough people here. I'll always do one at this time for. So I'm not gonna get rid of it. Just if there are some people who want to come and can never get here, then that I feel bad. I want to at least include some other times if necessary. If not, we'll just always do it at this time, Alright guys, have a good day. I will catch you all later.